Well, I'm pleased to be here today. This is my first time talking to you guys on this campus. So what I'm planning today to be is just be more of a discussion. So I'm gonna say a little bit about me, a little bit about the MIS Society, then also a little bit about MIS as a career path, because I'm aware we're all business students here, and MIS is just it's actually a newer major, and really I think it's gonna be the fastest growing one because of just how tech forward it is, and our society as well is going just so far into the future with, technology and AI especially. We're going to talk a lot about that. And so I am going to just pull up my slideshow here. There you go. Is this working?
Yeah, we can see it all right.
All right, excellent. So here's my slideshow for the MIS Society. So I'm going to start with here, which is my LinkedIn QR code. You're welcome to connect with me. You can go ahead and scan. I will come back to this, so you'll have plenty of time to scan, and you can just search me up. I practically live on LinkedIn, and just for any business professional, it is a really good practice also to live on LinkedIn because, you know, in an age of digital technology, especially as an MS major, it's almost ironic me talking about this. So a big part of even getting hired now is your social media presence and your digital footprint. I know people who have gotten hired solely because of the LinkedIn profile. And so I highly recommend getting on LinkedIn if you haven't already. And if you're on it, great. And it's a really good practice also to post as much as you can because employers will actually see the algorithm and they will, see your activity and they will check. And the more active you are and the more you engage with people in a positive manner, it could actually open up new doors to new possibilities. So I will come back to this, but there's that. So management information systems is it is quite auto now because it's not a traditional tech degree in the sense that it's not a lot of engineering and coding because we have things like computer engineering, electrical engineering, and computer science and software development. And MIS really is none of those. And at the same time, it's not fully a traditional business degree either because it really combines how people, processes, and technology all interact with each other. And which is why the word management in MIS is so prevalent because it's about using technology for management, for people. And you can't manage without people being involved because that's what makes it business. And really, people, despite MIS being about technology, people is the most important part of it because without the people, the technology really has no place and can't do anything. And the processes, everyday business processes are now being automated by technology, enhanced by technology, and you really can't have efficient business operations without technically enhanced processes, which is why here's a little Venn diagram here. These are the three key aspects of management information systems. And because of that, it can sort of lead to a plethora of jobs. And really, these all are jobs sort of in the same gray area where they don't really fall into a particular discipline. And that's actually why these are some of the most well-known jobs for being competitive and also in demand at the same time because, you know, you know, data analytics, there's so many different disciplines you get into it from because if you look at, traditional data analyst or business analytics job postings, for the degree, they'll have to say, economics works, computer science works, information systems works, IT works, statistics works. And so, which is why, that's one of the big reasons why data analytics is so competitive, and also a big reason why these fields of study are becoming even more popular in contrast to everything else. And also because it pays well, because in this new age technology, data is now the most valuable source of currency, even more than oil. And then we have IT. There's so many traditional IT jobs, and information systems is pretty much just an expansion on that. But really, the foundation of all of it comes from IT because IT is technology used for people, and that's what LNS is all about. The most common, especially in this job market, the most common place to start in the management information systems job market is an IT help desk, especially at your school. Most people who are in information technology support, they chances are a good amount of them are probably using that as an entry level point to then get the technology experience to then unlock, more jobs in the future, which is the standard way to do it. And then we have cybersecurity, which is really just a branch of information technology. It's a common confusion where people understand if cybersecurity is more computer science or more information technology. A truly good cybersecurity professional would probably need to have both, but it mostly falls under information technology because the foundational concepts is from IT, such as networking and devices and management and security and even people. Because believe it or not, cybersecurity is also a heavily business-facing discipline because the CEO directly invests in cybersecurity a lot of money. Guess why? Out of fear of stealing their data. Hackers are everywhere. They're bringing down a couple people, hackers are bringing down huge companies, and so cybersecurity is not going to stop growing. In fact, it is becoming enhanced with AI because as AI enhances, not only hackers are getting AI tools and having increased hacking capabilities, but so are the defense, so are the companies, and so now they're both going to start using AI more and more. And so I don't think cybersecurity is going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, I think it is going to be the fastest growing field of all of these by far, except for maybe machine learning, which we're about to get into. But the funky part about cybersecurity as well is that you don't actually need to be a tech bro to even get a cybersecurity job. Because some cybersecurity jobs in governance, risk, and compliance, there's some types of the cybersecurity jobs actually are fully about the business and about people and about rules and regulations. And I know some cybersecurity professionals who don't even interact with actual devices and computers and technology that much just because their main job spans general business and people security, whether it's internal or external or data safety, and just basic security protocol, like making sure you're putting an effective password and things like that. And now, machine learning, AI is it's gonna be so much more prevalent, and being so data oriented, machine learning really comes from data and statistics when you're creating AI models. Because the way AI models work is that, in case you didn't know this, they're just fed data from the internet. So basically, the reason ChatGPT and LLMs and all these models are so smart when they talk to you and they talk like humans because they have untamed access to the data from the entire internet. They just get the data from the internet. And so they learn from that of how people speak. So they speak to you in a way they understand because people talk like people on the internet. And all the information they get is pulled somewhere from the Google, which is why probably if you were to get information from them, they'll probably have a little link saying where they got it from. Or if they don't, maybe you should ask for it just to see out of curiosity to make sure they're getting it from a reliable source. And that's a big reason why sometimes AI can make mistakes as well, because they're just given access to the internet. And so machine learning is still a heavily growing field because it uses data and statistics to feed AI data. I even say sometimes it's not really truly artificial intelligence yet. It's still basically machine learning because they're not actually thinking for themselves. But that's where we're going with that. So machine learning is going to grow a ton, and really any discipline involving technology or data or numbers can go into machine learning and probably will end up going to machine learning because of where this whole society is going. And then on the business side of MIS, we have project management and process improvement. You could even be a product manager and a program manager because now, even in businesses that aren't tech focused, completely unrelated, construction or healthcare businesses, a lot of the project manager, product manager, and program manager roles will be technical and require technological skills because most of the new projects and new products will be tech forward, right? They'll be based in technology because that's the way the future is going. And so to innovate, really, that's going to be mainly through technology. And so when you're leading a project and you're creating a new product, 9.9 times out of 10, it's going to be a tech or AI product, which is why, if you've ever heard of the software development lifecycle, it's basically a project, it's a project planning methodology for tech products for software, which is why it's expected that project managers and actually general business people are aware of the software development lifecycle because all the new products are just being tech focused. And so if you were to really get into MIS, a big factor is that it has the biggest pay potential. And this is a reason a lot of people these days get into it, but you really need to make sure whatever you get into is you are good at it and that you like it. It's a good fit. Because I could say do MIS as much as I want you to. But the truth is, I do MES because I heavily enjoy it and I know that I'm naturally strong at it. My brain works that way. If you think that any of these other areas might be more your speed, please do it because despite MIS having the highest pay, especially in the entry level on average, that is because the more technical degrees tend to get higher pay because the jobs require much more grit and technical skills are just so there's steep learning curve. They usually require a lot more extra qualifications than projects, which is why it's also much more competitive. But because of that, the reward is much higher once you get into it. But really, the money will come as long as you're good and you're passionate about what you're doing, right? Because if you do MIS, but let's say maybe your brain is more marketing and sales oriented, you're a very bubbly people person, then maybe you won't have as much growth potential in an MIS job. But if you had done marketing, then maybe you wouldn't have started with as much money, but you would have had a lot more room to grow. And really growing is the most important thing. Now at CSUSM, this is what I can speak for at the main campus. I'm not fully versed in what you guys have at Temecula, but what we have at CSUSM with our MIS major, we have plenty of courses because MIS is pretty much just general tech fluency, especially with the university programs usually trying to be general conceptual knowledge. We have a ton of stuff here, and this really I like to use this as a good simplification of really what areas MIS spans because this is, if you put all the classes together, it really paints a really clear picture because with the MS degree and discipline, there's digital forensics, which you can use. So basically, like I said, there's a lot of hackers, and sometimes they might be external or they might be internal, I mean, inside the company. And so we will actually need digital forensics specialists to be able to follow the digital footprints and see what's happening and catch these hackers because if your data gets stolen, especially if it's sensitive data, which most companies, if a company is storing data, is probably going to be extremely sensitive. And so when you get that data stolen, it's not game over. In fact, you want that data back, so you want to find the people who took your data. And so this is one way you do that with digital forensics teams. And then on top of that, information security. Now that goes right in there. Business systems development. So the word development almost insinuates coding. And the truth is, MIS majors, like this coding stuff here, MIS majors don't have to code because these are all electives. In fact, a lot of the times, if you're a computer science or computer information systems major and you decide coding is too hard, that's actually a big reason that some of those people might switch to MIS. I know plenty of those. But even still, you can't go wrong with a technical skill. I still personally need to work getting Python because I'm really bad at it. I haven't done it since high school. But really just knowing some of these concepts, even if it's coding, if you just even know Python, you're Python aware, that could be the difference between you getting a job or not. Just period, straight up. So really, all these tools are important, and you don't have to have all of them, but it's highly encouraged to use all of them. And the chief information officer role of a company, the CIO, basically they're more of a business leader. However, they have general knowledge across all these domains and can make informed decisions, big decisions for the whole company on a global scale and conversations about all of them. And so that's why MIS really is the pathway there. It's for management, managing all these information systems that company use. So taking a break from all that, because we just talked a lot about us and the jobs we can get, but I feel like we really need to understand the point of MIS because why do we even have it? Why do we create this very new degree separate from all these technical engineering and other business operations degrees just for this? Well, the simple answer is the Internet of Things. And so basically what that means is it's almost like a vague term. The Internet of Things basically describes the interconnectivity of all physical and virtual devices on a global scale because we have, cell towers and telecommunications and all these devices that all need to stay alive and functioning. And so the Internet of Things encompasses all of these and how they connect from, the plugs you put in your wall to the computers that we're using right now. It's how I'm able to broadcast to you from my location. So really, really convenient, but also carries a lot of risk. The Internet of Things tends to power our entire world's infrastructure now, and the coders ain't got time really to mess with this because their job is maintaining websites, developing new apps and things like that. That's where the code comes in. where information systems come in and managing information systems. This is the part of the Internet of Things. Sustaining our infrastructure, keeping things going, and keeping things smooth because really now connectivity and technology and how we're using it, how people interact with it, is just powering this entire world. And it's also why MIS can't help but be such a broad discipline. Now, the progression of technology. This one I quite enjoyed. I quite enjoyed putting the slide together because I actually find it a little bit interesting because it's very suspenseful. Because when we had the first computers, like the first desktops, how these progressed were into laptops, really portable laptops. I'm using one right now with these little chips that are 10 times more powerful than any of these old massive desktops could have been just because of the way we've innovated technology. You might have seen pictures of these before. These are like stock databases. So basically, these are on-premise data servers, what companies used to use to store all their information before the cloud existed. And so now we're switching from on-premise to cloud in companies. In fact, not even in companies, in real life. Because when's the last time you've used a USB? When's the last time you used physical hard drives? Even disks are sadly going away. We're going to the cloud. And what the cloud is basically, I know you've heard the term before, but it's storing information and data through the internet. And so there's so many different cloud providers. On your iPhone, iCloud, you've heard of that? It's where Apple stores your information on the internet. Your Google Drive's a cloud. It's a simple form of cloud where basically you're storing data through the internet. You can access it from anywhere, and it's not actually taking up physical storage. And so this is really so important because now we have bigger data and bigger files, especially for a gamer, you know this. Video games by themselves take up so much data. If you don't have a 1 terabyte device plus cloud storage, even still is going to be difficult, and you're going to have to constantly be deleting apps just because these files take so much storage. And this brings us to AI. So for computers and database servers, they've been really clear progressions. For AI, it's been kind of unclear because AI is still developing, and we know AI is going to go somewhere. We don't know where it is yet, whether that's the extinction of humans or whether it's human evolution beyond an unprecedented scale. We're not fully sure exactly where AI is going to take us yet. And so this is really where we're at right now. And, if you talk to people right now who are beyond Gen Z, maybe our professors or our parents, people like those, they'll tell you they didn't always even have these devices. They grew up on the first computers. And so it's our turn now to grow up in a new age of technology, and that's going to be AI. So it's going to be really curious to see where that goes. I have my own theories about it. You guys are welcome to hear about it. If you follow my LinkedIn, you'll probably see me post about it a lot. And so just to go a little bit more into the cloud, because it's so fundamental, not only for an MIS discipline, but actually any discipline will involve the cloud because companies use cloud systems for all of their day-to-day operations now. Like all their information will be in the cloud. It's expected that you have a pretty good form, at least, of cloud literacy, at least or understanding it, or an ability to use these tools really just in any, or especially corporate job, business job, corporate job. Now, so the top three cloud providers, because companies provide these clouds as services of the companies that they buy. So that's how the cloud works. Amazon Web Services, I'm sure you guys might recognize that from the outage. So what happened is, I believe it was last week on Monday, or Tuesday, I forgot which one it was. Last week there was an outage of Amazon Web Services. And so I'm sure Amazon was panicking, but a lot of other people were panicking too. The people who use their products, especially us if you use Canvas, that was connected by Amazon Web Services. And so basically, I think that was a really good lesson on just how much the cloud controls our infrastructure because all it took was for Amazon Web Services to go down to cause a lot of chaos and a lot of things to stop working. And the scary part about that is that Amazon isn't the only cloud provider because so many other companies do. Many thousands do. But the top three would be Microsoft, their Azure platform, Google's cloud, and Amazon, which doesn't come to much of a great surprise because these are such huge companies. But really, if you think about it, the cloud, I think, is currently definitely outweighing any other technology, including AI and efficiency and how we're using it to innovate. Because, again, Amazon by itself being out almost took out most of our services just because of how much Amazon controls. And so imagine if any other cloud platform that happened to as well or at the same time. I'm sure if ChatGPT or Copilot or LLMs went out for a little bit, it wouldn't hurt us. In fact, I'd argue it would even get better for a little bit of time without the AI brain rot. But when the cloud went away, that was where some real problems came because it is sustaining our servers and infrastructure. So the cloud is something really important to consider when thinking about the future of business at all. As far as AI, I'm sure you're probably all thinking, when's AI or is AI going to take our jobs? The truth is, right now, AI is too dumb to take any of your jobs, really, because we are naturally already smarter than AI. Think about when you're talking to AI, how often it gets things wrong. It probably gets things wrong a lot, and if you were probably overseeing it, if the human was thinking about it and not trying to type into a prompt, the chances are the human would probably be able to think through it and got it right. So, like I said about how AI works, they're not actually thinking, they're just using the data they've got and they're just presenting data in a more digestible way, but it's not conscious, right? And so what people are worried about is from the movies, which I think is going to come soon, reasonably soon, but it's called super intelligence. Oops, wrong slide. Which is artificial general intelligence, where basically what they want is for AI to get smart enough or can actually like think for itself, really have its own digital brain. And what their plan is, right? What the big companies' plan is to accelerate AI is basically keep developing their models, right? More advanced models. And then eventually, once those models get sophisticated enough where they're objectively better than humans, what they're going to do is have those models then develop and train the future models themselves. And so humans will have scarily little insight. And so this is really where the big risk comes in. That is the true point where AI will start to take jobs and potentially be a threat to humanity. And it is a very real threat. I'm not even kidding. And so the way we can stop that is by not rushing and, whether it's competing with China in the AI contest or trying to make money, really, it's really important. The most important thing is safety, is AI safety, because if we are not careful enough with the governance and rules and regulations on how we're expanding our AI and upgrading them, that's where it could cause some real problems. And so that's why, if we go back to the jobs, I should have added it here, but AI governance and safety is going to be one of the new ones. It's not here yet because actually most companies don't even have job titles that specialize in AI unless you're a machine learning engineer yet. Because like, you might see companies like Microsoft and Amazon and these big companies, they're just now starting to hire the first ever AI managers in history. The first ones are creating new job titles about AI, safety and governance and solutions, just because this is so emerging. And so right now, there's something to worry about at this moment, right? This very moment, no large language model has the potential to really even do much, take our job, kill us. It really can. But if we let it grow at an unprecedented rate and we don't regulate it, then things can happen. So really, it's going to fall upon our professionals, our incoming MS professionals who are in companies to really advocate for AI governance and safety because AI has the potential to be the greatest tool, the most revolutionary tool, but it can also be the most dangerous. But right now, I mean, that might come, I think, maybe 2030, 2035. It seems scarily close, but we've been developing really fast. Right now, the LLMs aren't going to do much. Your chatbots are mostly brain rotted. They're probably making you brain rotted as well. So right now, there's no reason to panic. The things that will be replacing you right now is that people who use AI will replace the people who don't use AI. And so if we're getting laid off for not using AI, it wasn't because a robot took a job. It was because either the market's getting oversaturated or something's happening with the company financially, or they decided someone who's using AI could also now do your job because they were adopting AI and everything was just going so much faster. And really, that's the big thing. So keeping up with AI and making sure you're using it is a big important thing. If you're interviewing for a job, in fact, this might even come for any non-MAS job. If you're interviewing for a job, they might ask you an interview question. I know this has happened to me already. How can you use AI to benefit our team? How have you thought critically about using AI and implementing it into business processes? Would you be able to train our team on how they can use AI to speed up tools, things like that? And you should probably have a good answer because if you do, that'll really, really help you stand out because you'd be surprised how many people don't use AI at all. And of course, AI being such a global topic, it's so integral to MIS because MIS is going to be the people behind the AI, keeping it aligned with humanity, keeping it aligned with our goals, keeping it safe, keeping it regulated, and making sure it's really being used for the best human purpose. And so, with that being said, I think I've gotten everything off the top of my head out of the way. So what I wanted to do now is actually open it up to any questions, any thoughts, and really kind of make this a discussion because I want to hear what you guys have to say. Maybe see what your career goals are. Maybe I can help answer those questions for you. So, anyone got any questions?
Any question, guys? We've got one here. Go ahead, one.
So when you talk about AI and MIS, is there like certain ethics that you have to know in order to have a job in that field?
Yeah, so being such a new growing field, it's almost less and less defined. However, when it comes to AI ethics, which is the biggest thing, which I think you might have mentioned, there is actually a new set of rules and standards. I forget the abbreviation is, but there's a federal like standard and rule board for AI ethics and AI governance and AI usage that companies have to follow. I've went out of my way and taken some certifications on AI governance because I want to be aware of these rules. And if you are applying to any job at all and you have a knowledge of AI governance, ethics, and rules and safety, that's already enough. And to set you apart. And some ways I recommend to do that is Coursera. You guys being a part of CSUSM should all have a free Coursera account where basically you can go on there and take courses, take certifications that are provided by, big companies like Microsoft and Google. And the funny part is that these certifications, the first certifications, when they were first created, they were created by the companies because the universities weren't teaching students enough, or they weren't teaching them the right things. So the companies thought, you know what? I'm gonna take this to my own hands. We're gonna teach them ourselves. And so they made one for each job title. They said, here's exactly what you need to know. Here we go. So now universities are like, okay, we need to be relevant again because universities need to make money. So now it's a little bit more aligned. But because things are so competitive, they're now expecting you to have a degree plus certifications. And so that's becoming the new standard to really have a good chance of getting a job in this heated market. And so just a little bit of now, because like I was saying earlier, there isn't much AI focused job titles yet. I know some local companies who are pretty tech forward and they have maybe one or two AI focused job titles. And so really just as much as you can scrape to know about AI, or being able to effectively use it at all, whether it's even consulting, using it to solve problems, using it to create business process diagrams or visualizations, especially for data analysis, that's a big one. And especially knowing the ethics and rules as they're now actively being rolled out and created that companies will have to follow. And I think that'll be a big factor in safety. That is really the best you can do. So really, I would say go on Coursera, check out AI courses, and do those. Even the general ones can be good. Executives, some top tier executives who are already getting good jobs or are getting paid well, are taking these general AI for business courses and getting a lot out of it just because how fresh these concepts are. So I hope that helps. Really just go out of your way and research, especially the certifications help a lot. Whatever you can put on your resume about, your awareness about AI and how you can use it for the organization and your awareness and the laws regarding it, that'll set you apart a lot because you'd be surprised how many students and how many people at all are just ignoring AI.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Waylon.
Hi, Ryan. My name is Waylon. I have a question. What are some way AI helps you within your MIS field?
Yeah, so similar to it's almost ironic because AI has just a general fluency, what AI can do is aside from any job, what AI can do is just speed up the process of creating key deliverables. For example, if you're a data analyst, your main job would probably be to deliver graphs and data visualizations and dashboards that provide insights. If you were a data analyst, what you could do with AI tools is you could, with an effective prompt, it would take a lot of effective prompting. You could give it an effective prompt and basically have the AI already give you mock-ups of graphs that could analyze and interpret data for you and also maybe clean up your data tables as well and really just speed up a lot of these manual actions, because what could have taken days could now probably take hours or maybe even minutes if effectively used by AI. We have AI platforms that are fully automating, data intake and dashboards and graphs, and it's clear that because AI, of course, it's not a human, so it's hard for it to think and have emotions, which is why the opposite, the thing it's best at, is computer-based logic, which is what it was built upon, statistics and data. It is the best at data analysis. Now, data analyst jobs won't go away, but you'll have to adapt, especially to AI, and be able to use it, or else you're going to fall behind. In IT, AI can automate IT, IT service management processes, right? If you were to submit a ticket to IT in a company saying my computer is broken, if you had an AI process, basically what the AI could do is just speed it up or maybe even recommend solutions already without the need of a human being there. But of course, that's an example of, because when you hear a human not being there, that almost makes me scared as well. But I think that's a good example of how AI will change jobs rather than replacing them. Because maybe, let's say, there's one less IT support specialist at the help desk, right? Because there's an AI agent. But now there's going to need a new job of a person overseeing that AI agent that is a part of the IT service process, because that AI needs to be regulated, right? A human needs to look after it, else it's going to make a whole bunch of errors, or maybe there's going to be a privacy breach, or you never know what's going to happen. So really across all these disciplines, if you think about what humans are already doing, what AI can do right now is just essentially speed up and make those processes more efficient and simple for humans to have to regulate. Because right now, as I said, because AI, it's really hard for it to think and speak for itself. That being said, it's got to do the monotone, the autonomous tasks, and maybe it could do more once it evolves, right? Once it starts having some neural network capability. But as of now, those are really the key things. Really good question.
Thank you. We got another question from Juan.
So I really enjoyed what you talked about the AI agent. I just wanted to share a story where I came across an AI agent through email. It was through Anchor. It's like a portable battery. Mine stopped working, so I did their customer service to get a replacement. And it was an AI. It was an AI agent, and it made it way more difficult because when I gave it my order number, it pulled up someone else's order and gave me their details, like their address and all this stuff. And that was AI, and I had to like kind of argue with the robot to get a real human. So what do you think about that? Like, do you think there's still a lot of do you think we're there yet because we switching customer service to AI agents and just having like one person oversee it?
Believe it or not, AI agents actually aren't bad at customer service right now, because customer service, despite being very people oriented, they usually have set phrases or behaviors that they consistently do to customers. Like if you go to real life, like at a cashier, they'll probably like you reuse the same phrase, like "Thank you, have a great day." Yeah, that's a very simple example, but things like that can be repeated. And so, especially through emails, like you were mentioning, a lot of companies are actually have already AI automated their email system with an email agent, just because, even though again it requires a lot of interpersonal stuff, because some of those phrases can be repeated, it's a very certain and very easy to learn behavior, even for the AI agents. When you have an AI agent where its sole purpose and sole programming is for the emails and customer service, it can actually work out very well. Think about how often you go to a company website and they have a chatbot on the website. I mean, that is the bot being used for customer service. Now, granted, some of those aren't that great. And actually, I'll tell you this, the reason that the company's website's chatbots are actually usually bad and have a very little amount of response variety is actually not because of the bot itself, but because of the security risk. Because when you might be on the website trying to research them or get a job, someone else using it might be a hacker trying to get their information through the website link. And so they can't have their chatbot at its full potential on their website facing like the whole world, because that could be a data risk. It's a risk. It's just a liability, which is why usually the bots will be really dumbed down and probably really annoying to deal with on their website. That's for that reason. But when they're sending emails in ways that they can control, because really the humans still can't control what they put in their emails. They just need to make sure the AI agent knows that, which again is why it's so important to have a human in the loop because you never know what can happen. Yeah, absolutely. AI agents are already being used in emails. Customer service, they're great at customer service. In fact, I attended a tech conference recently, and some CIOs and CEOs were saying that their AI agents doing their emails, customer service, have actually been doing really well. Like it's generally been doing great and been improving things just because humans can get tired, they can like fizzle out, maybe have a monotone email. AI can't. AI it doesn't run on battery, it doesn't run on juice. It's very stagnant. So absolutely AI agents are being used in email. Really it's about how can we expand the use cases of AI agents in both an efficient, actually useful, and safe way. But things like emails absolutely are being used. In fact, a scary thing about that is that it might even be hard to know what emails you're getting on AI now.
Thank you.
Ariana?
So I just wanted to kind of get a understanding of what the tool and systems that are being used in MIS majors. Because I think it's slightly different if someone who is going to be utilizing AI systems or things like that. Like, for example, someone in accounting might be utilizing QuickBooks, their AI agents, whatever they have in there. What is like the specific tool and system that an MIS major would? Just trying to get a better understanding.
Absolutely. So that is an amazing question because MIS definitely requires, aside from maybe computer science, requires the most variety of tool knowledge and usability because what MS majors would do is integrate these systems and connect them in a way that people can use them. So if you think of a basic example, like, maybe accounting for finance, they use Excel a lot. Well, no, aside from just using Excel, because that's something most people do, just recently, as you guys might know, Copilot integration was added into Excel. So now you can use Copilot directly in Excel on top of Python. Python can now be coded straight into Excel. Now, those are pretty neat features, and I'm very positive a team of MIS professionals led the charge of those. An MS person could have proposed that idea because they were more business facing. They said this would be a great business decision to add Copilot and Python integration into Excel, such a mainstream platform. And then they said, okay, maybe a more technical MS professional who might have specialized in cloud connectivity and integrating these platforms and business processes might have been like, okay, here's how we can actually feasibly put Python into Excel. Here's how it's going to work. Because Excel is a part of what? Microsoft, which is the cloud. Microsoft 365 is a cloud. Microsoft Azure is a cloud. They're a huge cloud provider. They're one of the big three. And so that's where really MIS comes in, is about innovating these technologies and really thinking how they can better benefit people and everyday people using them. Because I'm sure, maybe computer scientists will love the Python there, but I'm sure everyone's going to definitely be using that Copilot in there. So that's a great question. Really, it's about getting familiar with a bunch of these tools, especially the ones that are most used, because despite, wanting to stand out, if you say, I might want to learn a more obscure tool, maybe not as popular tool, even still, you want to learn the popular tools like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google Cloud and Excel and those things, because since so many people use them, those are going to continue to be upgraded a lot, right? A bunch of new features, just like a video game. If it's in the gamers, again, I use the gamer analogy because I'm a gamer, right? Updates, software updates are constantly going to come because we need to keep evolving and keep having new customers come in and also keep our customers with all the competition that's out there. So really staying in touch with all these basic technologies just as much as you can really is going to keep you ahead. And I would think about while you're doing that ways to innovate it. So I would even think about, for example, Excel for accounting and finance. We have Copilot in there. We have Python in there. What else could we have in there? That's a question the MIS major would ask.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions that they'd like to ask Ryan? No? Well then, Ryan, I would like to thank you for your time.
Yes,
Anybody-
absolutely. It was a pleasure to be here.
I'm gonna end the recording.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.